Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary to share a contemplative focus with you today. A contemplative focus of self-imprisonment, the mental penitentiary. Imprisonment, by its very nature, is life denying and rooted in fear. It's usually and universally abhorrent. The very idea of imprisonment is very discomforting. Yet, paradoxically, we continually confine our consciousness within the mental constructs of virtual realities created by our ego driven minds. So, isn't it ironic that the very thing we claim to abhor and despise, imprisonment, is something we constantly create and experience through our own thoughts and beliefs? This raises an important question. Why do we do this? What drives the self-imposed confinement, huh? The answer lies in the workings of the ego. The ego thrives on illusion and its virtual reality. A fear-based, life-denying construct is the environment the ego knows best. The ego creates and sustains this mental prison in the name of safety, security, and self-preservation. Fear, contrary to popular belief, is not about the unknown. It's about clinging to the known. Self imprisonment, then, is simply the ego's attempt to preserve its own identity. And when we look at human history, we can see quite clearly that it's full of examples of mass role playing in terms of ego driven identities. People who will go to war about their beliefs, whether they know or have ever examined those beliefs and their supposed truth or not. They simply accept it as the given of their life, and they will die to fight for it, which is insanity. If you understand insanity, that's definitely the insane, to go to war over a belief system just because somebody else has a different belief about religion, about God, about politics, about anything, that would be cause for warfare and conflict. But it really brings out the conflict that we have within ourselves. Because in truth, we are all the same equality consciousness that is all and everything. And the reason why we're here as a human being is to journey the journey of our truth, pretending to be other than it is. Huh? And we are, if we're meditating at all, we are in our evolutionary phase of this process. We have come to identify ourselves fully with the ego, with the illusion, with the virtual realities that it creates, and to journey that journey. And now we are journeying back to our own essence, our truth, who we truly are and what we truly are, which is consciousness itself. So as we journey the journey, we find ourselves wherever our feet are within that context. I know when I first came here to Synchronicity, it was in spite of my ego's fear of putting myself in the presence of a living master. That was the one thing I tried to avoid. I meditated for years on my own, only to find myself not really going anywhere. And I would have some very powerful meditations here and there, but there was nothing consistent with it. So I finally tried the meditation, the high-tech meditation that Master Charles created. I found it so powerful and so good that I ended up coming here on a retreat. And in that process, I was invited to move here and to live here. The one thing that my ego really was most afraid of was presented to me by Master Charles. And of course, in that moment, in spite of the fear of my ego, the presence of the Master overrode that fear with his energetic presence, and I said yes. I knew that it would have been a very big mistake for me to say no to that invitation. So I ended up moving here and becoming a resident staff member. And I clearly remember early in my first days here waking up one morning and my body could not move. I had no control over it. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't move. I was just like a stiff laying there. And of course, eventually, one of the staff members who helped the master to take care of instances like this among new people showed up and checked in with me, and she recognized right away what was going on and got me to get up and get back into motion again. So it was not something new to the synchronicity sanctuary. It was something that a lot of people go through in one form or another when their egos are supremely challenged by the presence of the truth of who they are in the form of a living master. Because that's what a living master in one way is. Someone who is so consistently in touch with their truth that the energetic of that experience flows out of them and empowers you to do the same. It invites you to find your truth and to embrace it. But to do this, this is where you battle with your ego and all your identifications with it. This is the clearing process that we all know so well here at the sanctuary, or for any meditator anywhere in the world, where any data that we hold that's contrary to our truth must be brought to the surface and cleared. So all your identifications with your ego, this is who I am, that's what I am, so forth and so on, that is what has to be cleared. And to clear it, you get closer and closer, and you experience more and more of your truth. And as you get there, at some point in your evolutionary process, you will reach a point where the experience of your truth, that energetic content of your experience as human, will become powerful enough that your ego has no power over it at all. Maybe just a little bit when you're first starting a new lifetime here to journey your journey to evolve, but at that point you will finally transcend your ego in a way that you will never go back. You cannot be confined by an ego and its virtual realities anymore, because you're in the experience of your truth to the point that you know who you and what you are. So this is the evolutionary journey of humanity. Much of humanity is still in the process of becoming totally identified with a virtual reality. They're becoming and experiencing what that imprisonment is, and the fear-based life experiences that go with it. And they may hate it, but that's what that's all about, because the reality of the human being is itself a virtual reality. It's not real. We think it's real because we experience its reality at some level with our senses and with this physicality that we have in our experience with emotions and thoughts, with pain and pleasure and so forth and so on. We become so identified with that as a undeniable reality that going beyond it becomes either impossible or very difficult. So in my journey, when I first started to journey myself in this environment where I was constantly challenged just by the energy of it, it was like a never-ending meditation, and you couldn't get away from it. And in that context, you start to see things and about yourself. You start to realize the different connections you have with your ego, and you start to clear them. And of course, with the guidance and help of and assistance of a master, that makes it much more efficient and possible. Whereas out in the world, not really understanding what meditation is and the process behind it, the fivefold clearing process, where we have a peak experience in our meditation, which I used to have even before I came here, once in a while. Peak experience, an experience of our truth to some degree. And then we journey the journey of trying to integrate that experience so that it's not something foreign to us. It becomes part of our known truth of who we are. And to do that, any data that we hold within ourselves that is contrary to that experience must be cleared. And to clear it, we have to go through whatever emotions, thoughts, or even physical experiences that are connected to that data. This is where kriyas happen. This is where emotional traumas can come up and so forth and so on. It's not a pleasant experience. And that's one reason why we had so much assistance here at the sanctuary, because it was understood that this was a process that every individual was going through, and that if we journey the journey together and we support each other in that journey, our possibilities of success in moving forward in our evolutionary process was much greater. And it is, still is. So, well, I guess what this is really all about is the self-imprisonment that we see as ourself. We do not see it as a imprisonment. We see it as, this is who I am, and we're talking about our ego. And then whenever that ego is challenged, we want to either retreat, or we want to attack, or we want to disprove. In some way, we want to defend the ego. The ego wants to stay as it is, as who we think we are, because once we are wise to the fact that the ego is a virtual reality that really doesn't exist at all, it's done. It's gone. It has no more role to play, and so it's gone. It's just extinguished. We can still hold on to it as a tool to remain in the human form until our time as a human being is up, but we're not identified with it. It doesn't have any power anymore. It's a secondary reality that's only used to interface with other people and to perform whatever we want to perform here while we're on planet Earth. So, and that's the one thing that the ego fears the most, that you will wake up and see the ego for what it is and dissolve it and just let it melt away and disempower it completely. Then you are free. This is the freedom that's talked about in the ancient texts about moksha, I think it is. Anyway, it's the freedom that you get when you are fully realized in terms of knowing the truth of who you are, because that's your experience, and that is now in your experience constantly, so that your truth as equality consciousness cannot be disrupted anymore. You're home, and you're staying home. So that's the ultimate that most meditators are shooting for, whether they know it or not. I know that here in the West, meditation is promoted for all kinds of things that are more common, like relaxation and de-stressing and so forth and so on, which is not really true, because real meditation will bring about a clearing process. But what people think is meditation is trying to bring more quiet to the mind and its processes. And in that, there is some benefits. I know I used to, and still do, experience that, where I still have a mind, I still think, but I also have many moments and periods of time where I'm not thinking, and where I meditate deeper and deeper and deeper on a daily basis. So that's breaking out of the mental penitentiary that used to have such a strong hold on me. And this is an indication to me of where my feet are in my own evolutionary process. Everybody on the planet is somewhere in that process. And so that's what this is all about. It's about realizing, maybe at first just intellectually, but to realize that your mind and your ego is creating what you call you in such a way that it can maintain its own existence as a reality, when in truth it's not. So self-imprisonment, the mental penitentiary, is just that. It's a confinement of our experience of life, our experience of the truth of who we are. And this is what we're here to break out of. And so with that, I bid you adieu, and I welcome you to, I thank you for being here, and I welcome you to come again to my next live stream, which I'm not quite sure when that's going to be because we have some upcoming programs. But whenever you can, I welcome you to come here and watch these videos and get what you can out of it. Until then, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you again as soon as possible. Thank you for being here.